Okay, so let's try to do this. Goes and new class, print week names. Take this main method, say finish. So based upon the week number, I want to just print name of the week. So what is an input here? What is the variable I have to take? A week number. So I'll take integer variable int week number. Let us start with 1. Now we need to check this week number. We need to compare with multiple week numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 7. So what is the first one? If this week number equal to 1, if the week number equal to 1, what we should say? This is Sunday. This is Sunday. Else, one more condition. Else, if week number equal to 2, then we can say day. One more condition. Else, if the week number equal to 3, then we can say Tuesday. So multiple conditions you can keep like this. If else, if else, if else like this. So all the conditions we can verify like this. Because total 7 weeks are there. So 4, 5, 6 and finally what? 7. Obviously the last one is 7. So that I can keep else if also. Else if week number equal to 7, then I can print Saturday. Okay, suppose if I provide invalid number other than 1 to 7. So week number should be between 1 to 7. So if the week number is other than 1 to 7, then what we should say? Invalid week number. We should display invalid week number. So now what we need to do? If we specify more number of conditions, if none of them are not satisfied, finally else block. In this we can say invalid week number, because this else block will execute after completion of all the conditions. If no condition is not matching, finally else block will execute. So this is invalid week number. You can print like this. So multiple conditions also we can verify by using if else conditions like this. Okay, now let us test this code. So initialize a week number 1. So execute, say Sunday. So that means the first condition itself is matched. So this statement is got executed. And as soon as this condition is matched, so rest of the conditions will not be verified. Okay. Now let us make this 7. Sorry. Yes, 7. Week number 7. So it will verify all the conditions one by one. And finally one condition is got matched here. Week number 7. So it is got printed Saturday. Fine. Now let's say 10 here. 10. So when I say 10, no condition is matching. So finally else block will execute it. So it will say number is invalid week number. Okay. So this is how we can implement logic. So we can also write multiple conditions. Multiple if else conditions. Depends upon your requirement, you can frame the logic. Okay. So these are all conditional statements. You have seen if condition, if else condition. Nested if else condition means if conditions can also have another if conditions. And finally switch case statement. So when we have to use switch case, this is also comes under conditional statement. But we need to understand when we have to use switch case statement. Switch case statement we will prefer to use if we have a more number of conditions. For example, let's look at this example. Here we have almost 7 conditions. So how many lines of code we have written here? Almost 40 plus. Almost 40 plus lines of code we have written to verify the 7 conditions. So if you have more conditions like this, 7 conditions, sometimes you have 10 conditions, 20 conditions. If you have more conditions like this, instead of using if-else conditions, better to go with a switch case statement. Why? Because switch case statement will reduce the lot of code. In switch case statement, it will also perform the same thing. The objective of set, whatever the if else condition is doing here, same thing we can achieve by using switch case statement. But what is a major advantage of it is, it will reduce the code. It will reduce the code. So why we need to reduce the code? Because if you are saying a developer is writing very good code, on what basis you will say it? If the developer is more efficient, he will write a small thing and do bigger task. Inefficient developers, they will write a big code but do the small task. So unnecessarily, we should not increase the size of the code. We always try to reduce the code. With minimal code, we should achieve the larger things. So then only he is an efficient developer. So instead of writing more number of if-else conditions like this, much code, we can try to reduce this code by writing the switch case statement. Right? So now let me show you how can we write switch case statement and how we use switch case statement. Same program, I will try to write a switch case using switch case, and then we will see how much of lines it will need. Almost 50% of the code will be reduced. Okay, now we'll see the first syntax. Switch case. So the syntax will be like this. First we need to start with the switch, and here we don't specify the condition case. Okay, we specify the variable. Okay, and inside this switch, we will write one thing called case keyword. Case is a keyword. Here we specify the value of the variable. Okay, so if the variable value is equal to this one, let's say value 1. Okay, and then here we specify the statements. Okay, and suppose if the variable value is not equal to this one, then another case value equal to 2, then execute another set of statements. And suppose even this variable is not equal to this value 2, then another case value 3, and then execute statements. And if the variable value is not equal to any of this value, not matching with any of these values, then finally we specify default. It is just like a else block. So if none of the cases are not matching, finally default block statements will execute. This is a switch case. Switch and case syntax. So now let me show you how can we use this with this switch case commands. So can we write a program without declaring the variable using conditional statement? Yes, you can write. If you have such requirement, you can write. You can directly put the expression. Because why variables are needed, you need to first understand that concept. Why we need to create a variable? What is the importance of variable? To store the data, right? To store the data or to maintain the data, we have to create a variables. If you do not have variables, what you want to achieve with the program? If you do not have any variables defined in your program, what do you want to achieve? First of all, you need to clear about your goal, right? Why you are writing the program? What you want to achieve with this program? If you are clear about the goal, objective, then you will know exactly variables are required or not. Okay, variables are required or not. So just think logically, guys. Why variables are required? To store the data. And you have some data, now you want to have some comparison. Then what you will do? Definitely you will go with the control statements. And if you don't want to compare anything, then don't go with the conditional statements. If you have such requirement. For example, I just created 2 variables. I just want to print the values of them. Do you need control statements? If else conditions, you need them. You don't need, just you create the variables and you are printing the data. Just by using print statement, you can print the values of A, B, C. You are not comparing anything. So, no need any control statements or if else conditions. But if you want to compare something, if you want to do some operations based upon certain conditions, definitely you have to write a if else conditions. You guys understood? So variables definitely we needed for almost in every program. Without variable, we don't write any program first of all. It doesn't make any sense. Without variable, you don't want to achieve anything, right? If you want to achieve something, we have to write some program, some logic, some implementation. Should be there. If you just want to print a name, I don't need any control statement. What is the main achievement for this? Right? If you just simply write a system.out.println, your name. What is the main objective of the program? If your objective is just printing the data, you don't need conditional statements. But if you want to perform certain operations based upon certain conditions, comparison, all these things, you need to use conditional statements. So you can write program, you can use conditional statement with variables and without variables also. But if I don't want to use variables, there is no objective of that program. See, in the previous example, in multiple statements, here, have you written any variables here? Did I create any variables here in this program? Have you written any variables? No, right? I haven't used any variables. Still, I have used conditional statements. Why? Because I directly put the values. Instead of writing variables and storing the data, I directly put the values here. So I have not used variables. It depends on your requirement. It keeps change. Okay, so the input also we can pass through the console window at the runtime. So that I will show in the coming sessions because we want to know the scanner class. So to the scanner class, we can take this input at the runtime. So once your program is got executed, at the runtime you can provide the number. Randomly you can pass input. That is possible. Okay, that I will cover in the coming sessions. For now, just follow this approach, okay? So now let us see how can we write the same program using switch case statement. So if you want to achieve this, we have written almost 40 lines of code, 40 plus lines of code. Then I use if-else conditions, right? But if you write the same program by using switch case statement, we'll see how many lines of code is got reduced. Right, so let me create another class. Switch case, most important, listen carefully. Many times we prefer to use this. Switch case statement. Okay, just observe. So, we already told you syntax. So, if the switch variable, here we should not specify any condition, okay? We just specify only variables. And here we are comparing it. So, first we'll take a variable, int week number. Let's take 1. Now we need to write a switch case statement. How to start? Switch. And here we specify the variable. What is the variable here? Week number is a variable. And inside the switch, we have to write a multiple cases. So what is the first case here is if the week number equal to 1. Here value is what? 1. If the week number is 1, colon, here we have to put colon, not curly braces, okay, colon. Here you can write what are the statement you want to execute. So here I want to execute system.out.println, then you can say Sanke. And after completion of the statement, immediately you have to write one more thing called break. Break is basically called jumping statement, but here we have to use break command after executing the statement. But I'll tell you why we have to use this break statement. Just hold on. So this is one case. Suppose if the week number is not matching with 1, then another case, case 2. Here system.out.println, say Monday. Again, after the statement break. Break. Okay, like this I can write multiple conditions. I can write multiple conditions. Okay, so you can put this break statement in the next line or in the same line, no problem, because the semicolon is representing the end of the line. This statement is got ended. So after that you can put this statement in the next line or you can keep in the same line, no problem like this. Okay, now we can put multiple conditions, case 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 7 conditions we have to specify. So here we can write 7 conditions like this. And after completion of all 7 cases, finally, if suppose none of the cases are not matching, then finally default. Here, we have to say system not auto-println, invalid weak number. Here break is not required. Here break is not required. Okay, so this is our program. See how much size it is got reduced. Almost 50% of the code is got reduced if I use switch case statement. Okay, now let us first test this code and after that we'll see how it is got executed. So week number 1 means what? Week number 1 and case 1 is matching. So obviously it will print Sunday. Okay, Sunday is got printed. Now let's make it as a 7. So 7 means 7th case matched and Saturday is got printed. Now let us make 10. Okay, so 10. So let's try to execute copy Java application. Now invalid week. So default is got executed. If none of the cases are not matching, finally default is got executed. Fine, it's perfectly working fine. Now let us try to understand how this code is got executing and why we need this break additional statement in every case. So normally switch case statements will work based upon the case, not condition actually. So this week number equal to 1, then this statement will execute. If you not specified the break here, for example, if you are not specified the break, then what will happen? Okay, let me remove the break here. Okay, and we'll see what will happen. Let's say make it as a 1. So first case is matching. The statement will execute, right? So when I execute this, just observe what happens. It is displayed 2 week numbers. Sunday is fine because the case 1 is got matched and Sunday is got printed. Now immediately what it is printing? Monday also it is printing. So how it is happened? Because as soon as the statement is got printed, immediately it will execute the next statement without checking any case. Without checking this case, by default the second statement will be executed. Okay, so if you put this break, then what will happen? After the statement is got executed, we no need to execute the rest of the statements. It doesn't make any sense, right? At a time only one statement we want to execute. So when you specify break, automatically this break command will jump out from this switch command. This come out from entire block. Wherever the break is got executed, that will break the condition. It will break the block. It will come out from this block automatically. Same thing. Suppose if the case 1 is not matching, then it will go to case 2. And case 2 Monday is got displayed. Immediately break. It will come out from the block. If I don't specify break here, then what happens? If break is not created here, then what happens? So it is got printed Sunday. So let me just put 2 here. Then. So it is got printed Monday and also it is printed Tuesday because we haven't put break here. So now you understand what is the importance of break here. If I don't put break command, it will automatically execute the next command, the next statement without checking any case. So that is the reason as soon as your case is got executed, immediately we have to use break command. This is mandatorily required for every case. But why we haven't specified break for default? Here we just specify only statement. There is no break. Can anyone guess why we haven't specified break for default? Why? Yes, because after execution of the statement, there is no other statement to be executed, right? This is the last statement. Obviously, it will automatically break. After execution of this default statement, it will anyway come out from the block. So, break is not at all needed here. But rest of the cases, break is mandatorily required. So if I compare this with our previous example, same program, same objective, we have achieved in two different ways, by writing multiple if conditions, by writing a switch case statement. And if you look at the size of the code, by using if-else conditions, almost we have written 40 plus lines. And by using switch case statement, we have just written 20 plus lines. So almost 50% of the code is what reduced. So this is the main advantage of using switch case statement. So whenever you have a more number of conditions to verify or compare, try to use switch case statement instead of using if-else condition statement. So nothing wrong in this. We can use if-else or switch case. Both are correct. But which one will be used more efficiently? When you compare, switch case statement will be preferred. Okay, this is also another type of switch case statement. So these are all 4 different type of conditional statements which we have discussed. If else, nested if else, switch case. These are all called conditional statement, first category of control statements. So what is the use of conditional statements? If you want to execute set of statement or statements based upon certain condition, we can move with conditional statements. Conditional statements. Based upon the condition, we can choose the particular block you want to execute or not. That we can decide based on the condition. Then we can move with conditional statements. And we also have something called looping statements. Looping means the same set of statement we will repeat multiple times. Repetition will be there. And we have a while loop, for loop, do while loop, multiple type of looping statements are there. So in the next session we will discuss about looping statements and then jumping statements. Okay. And I got one question here. Is there a shortcut on the keyboard? What is the shortcut? For copy, duplicate, shortcut to copy or duplicate the code like you can just copy paste, Control C and Control V. So actually some of the statements I already written somewhere, so I'm just copying from there. Okay, so you have to write it or you can just copy paste, Control C and Control V, that's it. Nothing new. Okay. So based on these topics, I will give you some assignments today, so you guys can try those assignments. It based on today's topic. Conditional statements. Assignments. Okay, so the first assignment. So we have seen how to find largest of 3 numbers, right? So by using multiple if-else conditions. So you guys can try largest of 2 numbers, very small. The largest of 3 numbers, we've written multiple conditions, but here the conditions will be reduced. Largest of 2 numbers. And you can achieve this by using 2 different ways. Using if-else conditions, you can try also by using ternary operator. This is very famous interview question. Ternary operator. Do you guys remember what is ternary operator? Yesterday we have discussed it. Ternary operator. So by using ternary operator also we can achieve this solution. Simple one single line, we can achieve this. You can also write if-else conditions, but instead of writing if-else conditions, you can simply write one single statement, ternary operator, to find largest of 2 numbers. Try this, okay? Yesterday we have already discussed about ternary operator. Now the second example. We have seen how to find the largest of 3 numbers. So you guys can try smallest of 3 numbers. Okay? Smallest of 3 numbers. Again, you have to use if-else conditions. Multiple conditions, if-else. Okay. Now the third example. You have to print week name. Okay, so you have to print week number based on week name. Exactly opposite. We have taken week number as an input and printed week names, right? Now what you have to do, you have to take week name as an input and then print the week name number here. Exactly, you have to do reverse. Okay? So you have to take a week name here as an input, and here you have to specify the week number. So how to replace this? So simple, just I'm giving some clue, you guys can try. So here we say int week number equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But here we have to take a string variable. String week name equal to, you can specify Sunday, Monday, or whatever you want. This is the input. String we have to take input. But how can we compare this in the switch case? And if you want to write a switch case, you can write like this. Switch, and here week name, whatever the variable we define, and how to write the cases here? Case 1, 2, 3, 4. No, because this 1, 2, 3, 4 is a values actually, week numbers. So here, the week names you have to write, okay? Case, because it is a string, we have to keep inside the double quotation. Case is Sunday, like this, okay? Case is Sunday, then system.out.println 1, and then break, like this you have to write. You understood now? So, completely opposite. So, here we taken the week name and comparing with the week name. In every case, we have to write a week name. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, like this. 7 week names, and you have to print week number. Exactly opposite of this. Right? So, just you try this. Because we are keeping the strings, right? Because if it is a string, we have to keep inside the double quotations. If it is a number, we can directly put the number. Try this. So this is one assignment. Yes. Okay. So with print week number based on week name. So here use switch case. Okay. So you guys can try these 3 examples today. And other ones you discussed looping statements, then I will give you some more assignments. Right? So we'll stop here for today's session, and tomorrow we'll continue.